significant sites of LA's black community.
And in tonight's Look at This, he's over a unique museum that honors LA's black firefighters.
Well, take a look at this old restored building. This is the African American Firefighter Museum, and it is the first and only freestanding museum dedicated to African Americans in the fire service in the country. Housed inside old Fire Station 30 on Central Avenue, just outside of downtown. This was one of only 2 fire stations in Los Angeles where African Americans were allowed to serve between the 1920s and 50s. According to the museum and LAist, the history of black firefighters goes back to the late 1800s and a former slave from Virginia named Sam Haskins. He only fought fires for 3 years, though, from 1892 until 1895, and he lost his life that year responding to a fire. LA's fire department tried to keep it under wraps that they had a black firefighter in their department, but others soon joined the ranks. Some of the other pioneers included 5 men who were also Tuskegee Airmen. At this museum, you'll learn the amazing story of George Bright, one of the first black firefighters to rise to the rank of lieutenant. He was moved here with 4 other black firefighters in the early 1900s when this area was predominantly white, and incredulously, when these men responded to calls, some people were so angry that black firefighters were responding that they would actually let the buildings burn down rather than try to have them put the fire out, which is just an astounding thing to imagine. But even after the Supreme Court's historic ruling in 1955 that ended segregation, things were far from easy for LA's black firefighters. There are stories of immense hostility and discrimination that these men and women were met with, being forced to eat separately from their white counterparts and having to provide their own kitchen supplies and utensils. It wasn't until photos of all this were taken and given to the media that things finally began to improve. The station would continue to provide service to the city until 1980, and then it was closed after earthquake damage was discovered, and it sat empty into the 1990s until former firefighter Arnett Hartsfield Jr. approached the city with the idea of turning it into a museum. He had also led fire station integration efforts back in the 1950s. After an extensive rehabilitation and after being declared a city and national historic landmark, it opened to the public in 1997.
Okay, gentlemen. Have Mr. Billy Mills and Bertie Lee Bright to the stage, please. And can we please have the rest of the audience, guests, to please be seated? The first two rows are reserved for the retirees, so we're asking that no one sit in those two rows. And a couple of rows, I would say at least 4 rows after that, we're asking that the wives associated with this museum and this event. We'd like to bring someone to you that is very close to the firefighters. He is the local weatherman, weather broadcaster for KTTV Fox. As you can tell, I just met this man. He's wonderful, but he's going to be our announcer today, and I'd like to bring him forth, Mr. Greg Ketter.
That's okay, Michelle. We'll talk later. How's everybody doing? Yes, I have a big mouth, a big voice, but then again, I'm a broadcaster, so you know, we like to talk loud. I am so happy to be here. Are you guys happy to be here today? This is certainly a very, very special occasion, and I'm honored to be one of those associated with this occasion. We're here for 2 reasons. Number one, we're going to this is the dedication of this building, which has been around since 1913. Many, many firefighters have called this place their homes, and we're going to talk about the history. You'll learn more about this building and the people that inhabited this building for many, many years, over 85 years. And we'll also talk about a lot of the African Americans that have been involved in the fire department for many years. We're here to also celebrate 100 years of involvement of African Americans being a part of the fire department. I think that's worthy of an applause. Don't you think so? 100 years, folks. And I'm very proud to be associated with this program. As mentioned by Michelle, I am a weather broadcaster for KTTV, Fox Channel 11. And now you know where you should tune in for your El Nino reports. And we like to consider ourselves the most accurate prognosticators in town. By the way, I could give you a nice, I actually predicted this weather today, folks. I want you to know, because this event is so special. And I didn't want the firefighters to be upset with me. So just to give you a little brief forecast, tomorrow we're expecting some rain late tomorrow evening, so you can take that with you as you leave. You can't say you didn't leave with added value. But no, today this is a very special program. I hope everybody enjoys it, especially the young people, because this is something that they can talk about among their peers when they go to school and say, I went to the African American Museum. Black firefighters have been there for nearly 100 years, and they're a part of our history. They're a part of keeping this country safe and sound and saving lives. And I mean, this is good stuff, don't you think? Or am I the only one that's excited to be here now? What I'm going to do is stop talking at this point and get the ceremony started. I'd like to ask everyone to give their attention to the posting of colors celebration right now, and then we'll continue with the rest of the program. Let's get started. Would everyone please rise, please? Place your right hand over your heart. Face the flag. Ready. Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the Black National Anthem. Thank you. We'd like to acknowledge you too. At this time, I'd like to present to you Minister Amoye Shabazz, and he will bring us a prayer in remembrance of those who came before us.
Amoye is my title. It simply means one who is knowledgeable in the ways of our African ancestors. And Modoye Shabazz is my name. Los Angeles firefighters, Stentorians, family, friends, and community, I greet you in peace. I thank you for inviting me to participate in this opening of the museum. All important events should begin by acknowledging God Almighty, the angelic forces, and those who departed before us, who distinguished themselves by setting an example and demonstrating the greatest good. It is in this remembrance that I pray in the language of one of our ancestors, which is Yoruba. This is the language which is found in the West African countries of Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, as well as Togo, Senegal. There is a large group of people that speak this language in Brazil, Cuba, Panama, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, as well as here in the United States. I will use water in my prayer because it is said by our people that water has no enemies. The Yoruba people, those are many who are Christians and many who are Muslims, as well as traditionalists. The Yoruba language is a Pan-African language. I need you to assist me in this prayer by saying the word Ashe after I say each phrase. I will speak in English so you will understand what I am speaking about. But I will also speak in the Yoruba language so you will have a feeling for this particular language. Can I hear everyone say Ashe? We pour water on the ground because we say that when the Almighty gave us rain and water was poured on the ground, that everything began to grow. We know that water is used for cleanliness. I will begin. By saying, Mofikan kekere tutu si lekumi, you say Ashe. Mofikan kekere tutu si lekumi. I put a few drops of cool water on the floor. Bobo water, you didn't mean tutu? So that everyone here will be cool. Okan wa tutu? So our hearts will be cool. Ori wa tutu? So our heads will be cool. Tutu for one month. Coolness for the children that are here. I keep bobo tia wa sile me. And anyone who will come later will be at peace. Omi tutu. May the water be cool and refreshed. Ori tutu. My heads be cool and refreshed. Okan tutu. May our hearts be cool and refreshed. Ile tutu. May this museum be cool and refreshed. Ona tutu. May the road be cool and refreshed. Kosi cool. So there will be no death. Kosi aron. So there will be no disease. Kosi aisan. So there will be no sickness. Kosi ayo. So there will be no accidents. Kosi also. So there will be no loss. Kosi dina. So nothing will block this program. Kosi fitimo. So we will not be overwhelmed. Kosi adaba. So there will not be any false accusations. Kosi akoba. So we will not undo our good prosperity. We give praise to all those who went before. Olojoni Mojuba, the owner of the day. Obalana Mojuba, the owner of tomorrow. Oba Titi Lai 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 Mojuba, the owner of all days to come. Adake Dajo, that acted beside Alayamo, the one who gave us our destiny. Baba Mimo, the most pure. Baba Lokmo, the most wise. Baba Alanu, the one who we call our Savior. Mojuba Baba Tobi, God is the greatest. Olorun Tobi, the one in heaven is the greatest. Mojuba Baba Tobi, Iwaorum, not Iwaorum, Gusorum. In the east, the west, the north, and the south. Mojuba Baba Tobi, God is the greatest. Mojuba, Baba Mimo, Mojuba, Bobo Lodu. We give praise to all those who came and brought life. Mojuba, Ogbonagba. We give praise to all those who went before. Though we do not know your names, we give praise to those whose names we may not know, who have departed, who may be in Africa. We give praise to whose names we may not know, who have done good, who have departed, who may be in Europe. For those who may have departed in the Middle Passage, for those who may have departed in slavery, whose names we do not know. We give praise for those whose names we do not know, but who have prepared the way for us to do good. We give praise to all those who have done good, who have done the greatest good for the community. We give praise to those stentorians and those who passed before us. We say Ashe. We say Hire Aiku. Because of them we will have long life. Ire Owo. Because of them we will have prosperity. Ire Ile. Because of them we will have a place. Ire Omo. Because of them we will have those who will follow behind us and carry on our traditions. Ire Shegani. So we will overcome our obstacles. Aburu, Aboye, Aboshishe. May knowledge be spread. May wisdom be spread. May all of our sacrifices be accepted. Ashe, 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 a lower Lord, all powers within God's hand.
Thank you very much, Minister Omoye Shabazz. Now we welcome and we invite Chaplain John Vickers of the Los Angeles City Fire Department as he brings forth the invocation.
Thank you. This is a very special occasion for me because I had the opportunity to be assigned to Fire Station 30 in 1976 as a rookie for my third rotation. And it's a very special occasion for me to come back here today and to realize that this fire station is now going to be an African American museum. Let us bow our heads. Almighty God, we thank you on this history-making occasion for having the opportunity to come today and witness the making of this fire station into a museum. We thank you for all of those stentorians that came before us, all of those that were diligent enough, that persevered and that stuck with it and paved the way for many of us today that are still active with the Los Angeles City Fire Department. We thank you for their commitment to the community, for their desire to make a difference, and for the contributions they made that we can all be proud of today. I thank you for all of those today that are here assembled, those throughout the city of Los Angeles and Los Angeles County that serve in the role of firefighter as well as in promoted ranks and throughout this nation. We thank you for all of the contributions that have been made by all of the firefighters that are presently serving and that those that have served before. We thank you for this day, for what it means, for what it represents. We thank you for all of these things in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
You may be seated. And now I'd like to introduce to you from the Los Angeles County Fire Department, Captain Brent Burton.
Good morning. Good morning. This is a joyous day, isn't it? On behalf of the Centennial Celebration Committee and myself, I'd like to personally welcome each and every one of you here this morning to the dedication of the African American Firefighter Museum. It is indeed an honor for me as a young African American fire officer to stand before you and to speak at this joyous occasion. For the Centennial Celebration of African Americans in the Fire Service in Los Angeles is something that we are all truly proud of. And as we reflect on these past 100 years, I'm constantly reminded by Mr. Hartsfield, who you will see shortly, that this is our first 100 years of service. First 100 years. He doesn't want me to admit that, so I thought I'd make that plain and clear. Our centennial starts on October 2nd of 1897, when George W. Bright, a young Teamster, entered into the fire department as the first African-American firefighter. After the turn of the century in 1902, Bright decided that he wanted to promote to a position of leadership in the department. At that time, the position was lieutenant. Now we have captains. The lieutenant was the rank at that time. Excuse me, got a personal opinion. What Bright had to do in those days, there was no civil service in those days. Nowadays, we take exams. There's a competitive promotional exam system that we compete for these promotional exams. In those days, in 1902, there was no such thing. What Bright had to do, he was told, was to obtain the endorsement of the Second Baptist Church in order to obtain his promotion. So Bright did obtain that. Once Bright obtained the endorsement, I think there's a fire about to occur here. I think my colleague's a little anxious over there.
as we were saying, what Bright had to do was obtain the endorsement of the Second Baptist Church. Once he did that, there was one small problem the department figured out. Who would he command? He was not allowed to command men of other races, so he had to command men of his own color. So it was a decision of the department at that time to move all the other African-American firefighters in the department to Station 4, Hose Company 4 they were called. In 1924, 7 years after Bright's retirement, the men were displaced from Station 4 and sent here to Station 30. It was here at Station 30 where all the men worked, all the African-American firefighters were allowed to work. While assigned here, as many of you may well know, Central Avenue was the hub of Black Angelenos during that time. So it was only proper for the men to be assigned here on Central Avenue. A milestone we look at in 1931 brings us to Captain William Hall, the second African-American officer in the department, who decided to take the battalion chief's exam. After he took the battalion chief's exam, he plastered with high scores, but he was told there is no plan nor place for a colored battalion chief in this department. Captain Hall took his pension on December 31st of that year, 1931. What did that do to the morale of the men that worked here? It told them that you are only limited to being captains here at Station 30. There was no battalion chief, assistant chief, or division chief, or deputy chief in your day. Well, what the department did in 1936, they decided to get a little progressive, so they opened up another station for African-American firefighters down the street, Station 14 at 34th and Central, which gave us 2 more captain positions and a few more firefighter spots. A little bit of progression there. From that period on, blacks were only confined to 2 stations on Central Avenue. All African-American firefighters that entered into the Fire Department Academy, we know as the Drill Tower, were sent to Central Avenue. In 1953, that brings us to the Los Angeles County Fire Department, when the department hired its first African-American firefighter, James Garcia. Garcia resigned from the department after 2 years to pursue a career as an attorney, which left Van Davis, the second African-American firefighter, to continue on the legacy. In 1955, the Los Angeles City Fire Department decided, well, not decided, they were forced to integrate their stations. This was calls from the community, the local NAACP, and local firefighters here. They wanted more opportunity for a better future. What happened was, when the firefighters were integrated into these other stations, they were met with a cold shoulder. They were met with unwritten rules and regulations placed upon them. The department did not want this to work. They were met with such hostility, it's too inhumane to speak of some of it. But there are others that we like to honor. That some are not here with us anymore, some are still here with us. Men like Ernie Roberts. Ernie Roberts paid the supreme sacrifice by laying his head in human filth that was placed on his pillow at a fire station in downtown Los Angeles. After that incident, Roberts suffered a breakdown, but he came back on the department and worked an additional 27 years of service. We are thankful for that, Ernie Roberts. We are thankful for men like Reynaldo Lopez, who took the picture of the sign that said white adults on the kitchen door at Station 14, for that opened up a can of worms for the department to expose the racial intolerance that was going on. We're truly thankful for Reynaldo Lopez and taking that picture that bears the front cover of the old Stentorian book. We're truly thankful for men like Mr. Billy Mills and Arnett Hartsfield, who you will see, who documented these accounts, who recorded this history, who recorded these injustices, and placed them in the old Stentorian books so something could be done about that. We're truly thankful for them. And most importantly, we're thankful for the family members, for all of you that are here, for suffering the mental anguish that you must have seen through your fathers, or through your spouse, or your husband, when they came home after a long 24-hour day. As a young African-American firefighter, I myself cannot fathom the fact of going to a station not being allowed to have a cup of coffee or read the newspaper. I cannot understand what it's like not to walk into the recreation room and be told I cannot be in there just because of my color. Because of these men, we are truly thankful for them. Let's welcome these old timers. I'm sorry. So these are the gentlemen that worked on Central Avenue, that went through the immigration struggle, and we are so proud of them. They're our beloved retirees, we refer to them as. We'll give them a moment. These are truly our heroes. These are the first heroes we brought up on the retirees. Okay, we have over 2 audience coming in, please. Please come on up. Come on up. Please, sir, you have to see right in front of you for a sec. Please, your seats in the front. Thing that we have to go through for our families. Just about it.
That Bill Lawrence over there.
But we have a surprise for you. We want to know that the fruits of your labor do not go in vain. For as you can see coming to your right, these African American chief officers represent the chief officers of these gentlemen that you see here today. County Fire Department respectively. This was made on November 23rd of this year when Jim Hill promoted to rank of deputy chief for Los Angeles City Fire Department, making this county fire department being a deputy chief there. And we are also beloved to have, we are still blessed to have with us the first African American to promote in the history of the LA County Fire Department, Chief Herschel Clady, with us as well. He received this name. The next group of individuals you see coming before us represent the captains, the company on Avenue. We want you to know the fruits of their labor did not go in vain. Let them look ready. Between both departments. And of course, the engineers, apparatus operators, and firefighters. Between the both departments, we have a total of 500 firefighters, 54 inspectors, 59 engineers. Please let go as they make their way into the firefighters. 330 rank and file members, 100 of them are certified firefighter paramedics. We are proud of all of our firefighters, all of our American firefighters celebrating the centennial for these gentlemen here. To our beloved retirees, these are the fruits of your labor. Homage to you. So with this, we'd like to go ahead and salute you. Detail, up 10, hook!
Burning cross broke the bolted door, came through the flammable crystal, came through ring and heat and uncharred coal melting glaciers, came through spirits shaped by heat and hammering, by hammering and heat, a bronze in the mold of motherlands, a clay in the kiln. Our hearts ignite light for the past. We are centurion lovers courting truth, chanting love songs for justice. We are the blacksmith ancestor waiting.
Thank you. Captain Owens, on your command. May we have Mr. Arnett Hartsfield to the stage, please. Mr. Arnett Hartsfield. This gentleman is a retired firefighter, historian of the African American fighter fires in Los Angeles, retired attorney at law, and former civil service commissioner and retired professor of African American studies at California State University, Long Beach. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Arnett Hartsfield. Please be seated.
Can you imagine they've given me 5 minutes to cover 100 years? I requisitioned some Kleenex because when I saw those white hats, I knew I was going to need it. I'm changing that requisition now. I need a saucer. My cup runneth over. I call this the second lap. For those who claim and for those who believe that the presence of blacks in the department is a function of affirmative action, may the record show that we are 72 days into our second 100 years. At no time since George W. Bright joined the department on October 2nd, 1897, has there been an absence of black firefighters. We may have been invisible to the vast majority of our fellow uniformed members because of our segregation, but we were present. At least 5 of us were recruited from the Tuskegee Airmen program. One of us landed at Normandy within the first 24 hours, delivering the gasoline necessary for the planes which made the invasion a success. Our segregation was justified under the 1896 Plessy versus Ferguson decision of the Supreme Court, which held that the 14th Amendment, which had been passed to grant to the freed slaves the equal protection of the law, was not violated by our segregation by race so long as the facilities were equal. And while this department tried hard to maintain the equality of our separation, we were to learn that we were always more separate than equal. The department used the rule of 3 or pressured waivers for men being passed over to maintain 2 separate lists. And while much has been made of the fact that a few whites were passed over to fill vacancies in the colored stations, little attention has been given to the colored members passed over on the entrance and promotional list whenever our assigned ranks were full. The department was less willing to follow the egalitarian decision of the Supreme Court in Brown versus Board of Education than they were to take advantage of the Plessy versus Ferguson decision. Due to the limitations of segregation, we went 17 years from 1944 until 1961 without a single of our men making the rank of captain. We also waited 37 years on the battalion chief's list when William E. Hall passed in 1931 and was told by the department that it was a shame he wasn't a white man, but there was no place nor plan for a colored chief. You see why I'm so full when I watch those chiefs come down the street? Jim Sharon was finally promoted to captain 17 years after Jimmy Akers. As evidence that Jim Sharon was not unqualified for this singular honor, he went on after retirement to become the chief engineer of the Pasadena Fire Department. And from that position, was elected to the presidency of the International Association of Fire Chiefs. Once the bonds of segregation were broken, 12 of the black men who had joined the department during the years of segregation were finally able to rise to the rank of captain. There is considerable resentment to the consent decree. However, what is seldom mentioned is the fact that the city attorney, the mayor, and the city council agreed to its terms rather than to risk a judgment of damages to compensate American citizens who had been injured for no other reason than the color of their skin. And even skin color was not sufficient to escape the verdict, so long as any trace of Negro blood could be found in the family tree. At least 4 such men were initially hired as firemen, only to be segregated when their terrible secret was uncovered. At least 1 such man earned and received a service pension without ever being discovered. Imagine the punitive damages that might have been awarded to Ernest Roberts for having laid his head in fecal matter, which had been spread on his pillow by his white fellow firemen. We who buried Ernie last December knew in our hearts that his death had been hastened by his down payment on the consent decree. The pain and the scars which we bear from discrimination heaped upon us is compounded by the statements made in response to every investigation into our plight. That statement, quote, "I have never seen or witnessed any discrimination against a black member of our department," close quote. And just as man does not live by bread alone, so it is true that we were not alone in our struggle for justice. There were a few white firemen with ranks ranging from fireman to deputy chief who risked job security and social ostracism for themselves and their families to stand by our side. In fact, the only fire member of the department to lose his job over the integration issue was Keith Kenworthy, a white fireman. In the petition to the Civil Service Commission to abolish the oral interview, since I claimed they wouldn't make it fair, in the entrance exam, there were a few of our white comrades who were willing to testify on our behalf. However, the city attorney ruled that the only evidence in support of our charge had to be statements made by the members during the interview. Our comrades were prepared to testify as to statements made by these, quote, gentlemen, close quote, in the engine house. In spite of the statement of non-admissibility, the commission requested of me the names of the proposed witnesses. I was faced with a choice. Either sacrifice the men whose testimony wasn't even going to be admitted, or to leave the impression that I had no evidence to back up my charges. What to do? My solution was to submit a list consisting of our friends, to which I added the names of every black fireman then on the job, to which I then added the worst haters that we knew on the job. And then for good measure, I went through the seniority list and listed every 50th man. When the department grabbed the list trying to see who they were going to persecute, oh, there they were. We look forward to our next 100 years with eager anticipation. We have had 8 chiefs and more than 40 captains. One of our captains that you saw today was number 1 on his captain's list. He certainly didn't need it for me that. And today you have witnessed the dedication of one of the stations in which we were segregated to become a museum to commemorate the contribution of black firefighters to the city of Los Angeles. Is there any doubt, after what we have overcome, that we will continue to rise? I know I'm beyond my time, but bear with me just a moment. I want to read into the record the names of the men that I am familiar with, white firemen and non-firemen of the Caucasian race, who stood with us and gave us encouragement. Alphabetically: Charles W. Bain, Fred M. Ball, William Bematry, Earl Barnes, Ed Behringer, Robert Byrd, Wilbur Bryan, Frank Buchanan, Jack Burnham, William Burns, L.T. Clapp, Raymond Coburn, Charles Cooksey, Joseph Fulton, John Gerard, Harry Gross, Henry Haggard, Harold N. Johnson, G. Keith Kenworthy, J. Lauren LeBar, Marvin E. LeBlanc, Kenneth R. Long, Joseph H. Lucas, Donald O. Manning, Robert McFarland, William McRae, Joseph Neri, Burton Norbury, Joseph Reck, Lawrence Romer, Henry Sawyer, Paul Shulman, Randolph Taylor, Darrell Thompson, and Ralph Woods. Non-uniform members, Ralph Crane, the credit union, who always treated us with dignity, Fred Klein, Cleet Roberts, Maurice Shulman, Samuel Sperling, and William Bill Stout. At Bill Stout's funeral, someone said no one was better than Bill at comforting the afflicting and afflicting the comfortable. I close with the words that I wish I had thought of myself, but I didn't. If I were an old man dying now, I would not speak lightly of those perils which our sons and daughters may never have to face. Too much was paid in each encounter won that they in their turn escape such things. Things to be remembered, repeated and remembered, then passed on before the candle flames out. Where, at a place that I shall stop in time and place and be no more, there shall begin a brighter flame to burn and mark the place where mine has ended. Then the last flicker of me can endure the approaching darkness. Thank you for coming to join my great pride at this ceremony. And may I remind you that there were 83 black firemen before me, and had they not fought fire, I would not have been hired. Thank you so much.
Mr. Arnett Hartsfield, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much. As we move into the next part and the final stage of our celebration today, I just want to say it makes you really proud, doesn't it? Anybody learning anything that you didn't realize and you didn't appreciate so much? I know I am. I'm not a member of the fire department, but I am an African-American man trying to make my way in this country, and some of the battles that these men have fought, most of which were not with fires. They've overcome, they've persevered, and they've inspired me. Hopefully, we will continue, especially to bring the young people to places like Station Number 30 and to museums, and to let them appreciate some of those battles, because that will give them the wherewithal and the resolution to fight their battles so that one day they can stand on platforms just like this and make the next generation just as proud. I guess, simply put, folks, there's her story, there's his story, and then there's our story. This is our story. Be proud. Be very proud. And that's not written on my scripts. Now, we're going to take this thing to the next stage. From the office of Yvonne Braithwaite Burke, Supervisor County of the County of Los Angeles, 2nd District, I would like to present to you in her behalf Ms. Dolores LeCour. She has a presentation that she would like to give.
Good morning. I'm extremely delighted to be here this morning to represent my boss, who was going to be here, but she got an invitation from the president to be at his Christmas party last night, and her plane is due in today about 12:30. So on behalf of Supervisor Burke, I'd like to say congratulations to the Centurions. But Greg, I have to say one thing. In the County of Los Angeles family, everyone knows that Supervisor Kenneth Hahn loved the fire department. So on behalf of Supervisor Hunt, I think he kind of made sure that the sun would not mess up his parade today, okay? Again, on behalf of Supervisor Burke, who is very, very proud of the fire department, and I was her liaison with the fire department when she first came aboard of the county. I would like to say to Chief Clady and the Centurions, I know that you would not only use this as a museum, but I know you will really use it for the community education to bring more young firefighters into the fire department. So on behalf of Supervisor Burke, I'd like to make this presentation. Okay, from the County of Los Angeles, the African American Firefighters Museum, dedication and grand opening of the old fire station 30, and recognition of the 100 years legacy of African American firefighters and the preservation of this history in Los Angeles. And sincere congratulations and best wishes, the Board of Supervisors of the County of Los Angeles does hereby join in your celebration, December 13, 1997, signed Yvonne Braithwaite Burke, Chair of the Board of Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors. So again, congratulations. And I'm going to have one more presentation. Because the county truly loves the fire department, I have one plaque from the entire Board of Supervisors, and Supervisor Mike Antonovich has the responsibility of the fire department. So on behalf of all of the Board of Supervisors, congratulations.
And now I'd like to introduce to you Councilwoman Rita Walters.
Thank you very, very much. And thanks to all of you who are here today in the 9th Council District. This is a truly heartwarming event and a powerfully moving ceremony. I have more than a passing interest in the fire department because I have a family member, Sam Flory, who's out there with the old timers. Sammy, stand up. He was a captain before he left the fire service. I also have a niece who is currently in the fire service and is a paramedic with the LA Fire Department, Kathleen Scarver. So I have that. Is Kathleen here? Great. Put your hand up, Kathleen, wherever you are. I'm glad that she's here. There she is, right down there. And we're so proud of both of these family members. But beyond that, I developed an interest in the fire department in Los Angeles through my association with Arnett Hartsfield. Arnett was part of a large group of people who came together in the early 60s to fight school segregation here in Los Angeles. But while fighting school segregation and running for the school board, Arnett managed to inculcate the history of the fire department and the discrimination that existed therein in each one of us. So he was like Johnny Appleseed. And when I came to office as the council person for the 9th Council District, that seed had an opportunity to grow and to bear fruit. I have a wonderful staff who caught hold of the dream, and what you see here today is a result of their work. I want my entire staff who is here, all the staff members who are here, to stand and be recognized for the very fine work that they did on this project. Staff members, will you stand? Okay, that's not all of them who are here. Okay. Beyond that, we have a person who was a member of our staff. I call her our Michelle Banks because the fire department has a Michelle Banks, but we were fortunate to have a Michelle Banks for a time, and now she's gone on to bigger and better things. But Michelle, where are you? Where is Michelle? She's got her hand waving back there. Come out so people can see you. This was a young woman who probably didn't know anything about what had happened, the details of what had happened in the LA Fire Department. I met her after she was graduated from the University of California at Santa Barbara, and she was job hunting, and I met her at a block party in the night. She's a child of the 9th Council District, grew up in the 9th Council District. I'd asked her to come and work on our staff. She caught hold of this dream and literally worked on it for several years, going and digging out money out of this pot and that pot and the other pot to put it all together so we could see a restored building here today. And I am just very pleased and very proud to be able, instead of giving the Stentorians a plaque to hang on the wall today, to be able, on behalf of the city of Los Angeles, to give them the walls on which to hang those plaques.
Thank you very much, Councilor. Okay, folks, I'd like to introduce to you the Assistant Deputy Mayor, Reginald Byron Jones Sawyer, Sr.
Thank you. On behalf of Mayor Richard J. Reardon, it's indeed a pleasure to be with you here today. For me, it's both a privilege and an honor, and it's also a sentimental feeling for me, because in 1990, I'm a part of the city. I have civil service status, even though I work for the mayor. I was a management analyst about in 1990. And a gentleman named Kwame Cooper came to me and said, you know, I have two projects. One is the African American Museum, and the other is the Centurion Center on Vernon. And he said, hey brother, and you know, we call one another brother in City Hall. He said, hey brother, can you find me some money? Actually, he said, can General Services find me some money? So I've had the privilege of being able to get the initial funds to do the seismic work for this building and the building over on Vernon. And as a lot of us know, when you talk to Kwame Cooper, you ask him what you need, and he gave me a list that went on pages and pages and pages of requests for this building and others. And I'm so glad that that list is finally completed. And I'm so happy that the councilwoman and her staff has helped bring that to an end. Oh, you have another one. And also as an African American city employee who basically and honored by the people who came before us, because if it wasn't for your sacrifices, not only on the civilian side, but also on the civilian side and also on the sworn side, there were a lot of us that know that a lot of you came before us, that we would not be the general managers, chiefs, assistant general managers, were not for the sacrifices of the African American men and women who came before us. And this museum, I think, will stand as a monument to all city employees of that fact, because there was a day when we did not see one of ours in the management, senior management ranks. So with that, I'd like to present our certificate on behalf of the mayor and the city of Los Angeles and the council. City of Los Angeles, congratulations on the occasion of the grand opening of the African American Firefighter Museum. Presented this day, Richard J. Reardon, Mayor.
And next, I'd like to introduce to you the Director of the Southwest Region International Association of Black Professional Firefighters, Mr. Richard Logan, please.
To the master of ceremony, to the distinguished retirees who blazed the trail of our present success, to the dignitaries on the platform behind me, I bring you greetings from the International Association of Black Professional Firefighters, of which the Centurions of LA City and LA County are active participants, President Oshiama Delabu, and the Southwest Region, yours truly, Director. Historically, African Americans have fought structure fires along with the fires of injustice and racism and discrimination. But in spite of all these adversities, we have responded to each emergency call with courage and dedication. This museum, and long overdue I might add, is dedicated to commemorate 100 years of active participation of African American firefighters in the Los Angeles City and County Fire Departments. I'm going to personally dedicate this museum not only to the 100 years of participation of African Americans in the Los Angeles area fire departments, but also African American firefighters across this nation, for we all have experienced those same adversities. With that, I would like to present a resolution entitled the African American Firefighters Museum Resolution of 1997, and I would like to take the opportunity to read it. Whereas African American firefighters have been members of Los Angeles City Fire Department for over 100 years, and whereas their contributions to their department and community over these years were highly distinguished and creditable, and whereas they have served as fire chiefs of fire departments and president of the International Association of Fire Chiefs, and whereas they formally organized themselves as Centurions to better serve their community and address their department's problems of racism in recruitment, hiring, retention, and promotion, And whereas their efforts have led to the founding and establishment of this African American Firefighter Museum for historical and educational purposes, therefore be it resolved that I, Oshiama Delavu, President of the International Association of Black Professional Firefighters, on behalf of its executive board and membership, do hereby commend all individuals who have contributed their time and resources to this African American Firefighters Museum project, and to see its establishment in the city of Los Angeles, California on this 22nd day of October 1997, and be finally resolved that this resolution be cited as the African American Firefighter Museum, and that all members of the AAFFM join me in recognizing thereof. Oshiama Delavu, President. Thank you.
Okay, now we'd like to invite to the stage Fire Chief William R. Badmatri of the Los Angeles City Fire Department.
Good morning. I'd like to first of all welcome the elected officials here today, and most especially Council Member Rita Walters for the work that she did in making this day possible. It's the council people that make things happen in this city, and certainly this is a testament to her energy and her commitment, and will be a lasting testimony to that energy, and I thank her very much for that. I'd like to first also acknowledge two of our fire commissioners that are here present in the audience, and I would ask them to stand up. Commissioner Beth Lowe and Fire Commissioner Mel Wilson. Next, I'd like to welcome all of you, because really this is your day. These are your firefighters, your fire department. I'd like to welcome all of the uniform members that are here today and thank them for their contribution and for being a part of today. Most of all, I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the venerated African American firefighters that sit before us here. I will talk about them and the character that they bring to all of us. Simply stated, today we gather for what on the surface is a common purpose: to dedicate the African American Firefighters Museum. However, for each of us, in our hearts and in our minds, this day offers something different. For some, a too long, delayed day of acknowledgement and recognition. For some, a glorious homecoming. For others, a day to remember experiences that they would rather soon forget. For others, probably most of the younger people in this audience, it will be a day of revelation and reflection. And for some of us, today is a day of atonement. Over the course of our life, each of us will face challenges of character and conviction, and we must be accountable not only for our actions, but also when we fail to take action consistent with our beliefs. The discrimination and treatment endured by our pioneer African American firefighters is a sad chapter in the history of our department. None of us can change that history, but likewise, none of us should ignore nor ever forget that history. As firefighters from any era, we share in the proud tradition of the LAFD. Likewise, we must bear the burden of past transgressions. As fire chief of this great department, I apologize personally and collectively to each and every one of you for the personal suffering that you endured and the collective inequity that our pioneer African American firefighters suffered. Realize our African American firefighters not for the color of their skin, but for the content of their character. Their contribution is measured not by their ability to change states of matter, but rather by their ability to change states of mind. Although I have a proclamation to present, my real gift today is my personal commitment as chief engineer to ensure that equity for all department members will happen. As your experiences will attest, the task is not easy. But let this museum serve as a constant affirmation of the department's commitment to succeed. As we talk about the difficulty, and it's been brought up earlier, a lot of questions of how could you men put up with some of the injustices that you endured and yet continue to work and continue to contribute. Last week I saw the latest edition of the Olympic history that's put together by Bud Greenspan called The Road to Glory, which documents the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta. Specifically, he covers the story of a marathon runner from South Africa, Josiah Thugwami, the first black South African to win a gold medal. And in his discussions, they asked Bud Greenspan what his most memorable occasion was in all his documentaries of the history of the Olympics. And without hesitation, he recalled the story of the long-distance marathon runner long after the top finishers had finished, and it was late in the race. In fact, most people had gone home because the marathon was run at the end of the day. And this runner was still running in a great deal of pain, certainly far out of finishing anywhere near the top. And he asked this runner, "Why do you continue? Why are you still running?" And he answered without hesitation, "Because my country sent me here not to start the race, but I came to finish the race." You gentlemen here started the race for all of us, for the objective of equity and equality for all. It's our responsibility, and collectively all of our responsibility, to finish that race and to contribute to it. Again, it is my privilege to be here today, and I do have a proclamation to present. But again, our commitment is the commitment of the department and the other uniformed members that you have here today to make sure that your suffering that you endured does not go in vain and that we continue the struggle that you started. Thank you for your contribution. I'll read this out. Whereas on October 2nd, 1997 marked the centennial anniversary of the presence of African Americans in the Los Angeles Fire Department, and whereas the first African American, George W. Bright, was hired by the Los Angeles Fire Department on October 2nd, 1897, and whereas since his entrance into the fire service, African Americans continue to contribute to the welfare and leadership of the Los Angeles Fire Department, and whereas with the grand opening of the African American Firefighter Museum at Old Fire Station 30, a very important part of department history and tradition will be preserved and displayed. Whereas the many memories and heroic feats of African American firefighters who dedicated their lives to serve the citizens of Los Angeles will be available for countless numbers of museum visitors to observe and appreciate. Now therefore be it resolved that on this day, October 2nd, 1997, as Chief Engineer and General Manager of the Los Angeles Fire Department, I wish to honor this anniversary and express my congratulations on behalf of its members and a grateful city. Thank you very much.
Okay, we just have 3 more announcements from the fire department and then 3 one-minute presentations, and then we begin the ribbon cutting ceremony, so hang in there with us, folks. Right now, I'd like to present to you Fire Chief P. Michael Freeman of the Los Angeles County Fire Department.
Thank you very much, and it is indeed a special honor to be here as brothers and sisters in the fire service. Our 2 departments through the years, and I think more especially in recent years, have found more and more ways to collaborate and to cooperate for the good of the service and the public that we jointly serve. I'd like to pay special acknowledgement to all of those who have contributed to make this museum and this dedication the reality that it is today. I'd also like to acknowledge one member among the distinguished retirees who continues to serve the fire service and specifically the County of Los Angeles Fire Department, and that is Jonathan Leonard, who continues to serve as our technical advisor. Today we celebrate a centennial, 100 years. That is truly notable and remarkable. We've heard eloquent and heartfelt recollections of the past. This museum, this edifice, stands as a symbol for all to see. And inside will be kept the record and the memories of the history that marks a proud and sacrificial contribution to the fire service. This is a beautiful edifice. All of us are indebted to many, and especially Councilwoman Walters, for bringing this to pass. And it is my hope today that the lessons that have been learned in that 100 years of distinguished sacrificial history, that those lessons will not be forgotten, but will be carried forward as together, men and women in service, county and city of Los Angeles, as we together embark upon that second 100 years. On behalf of the department, I'd like to make a presentation. A certificate of commendation presented to the Los Angeles County and City Centurions for the centennial of African American firefighters in Los Angeles County and the grand opening of the African American Firefighter Museum. In celebration and recognition of African American firefighters' 100 years of historic contributions and outstanding service to Los Angeles City and County, the Los Angeles County Fire Department presents this commendation with congratulations and best wishes for the African American Firefighter Museum, which will preserve this rich history dating back to 1897, while inspiring and encouraging others to serve their communities as firefighters, presented this 13th day of December, 1997.
And now I'd like to welcome to the stage, or to the podium, Battalion Chief Darrell Ospey, President of the Los Angeles County Fire Department Centurions.
On behalf of my organization, I'd like to salute the great grandees of Firefighter Bright on our stage, for our podium today. I salute the old Centurions for their sacrifices, because I can say for people that look like me, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here today. So we are incredibly grateful for that. Thank you. On behalf of my organization, we'd like to thank Councilwoman Rita Walters for her unwavering leadership for this event and this museum. If it wasn't for her, this wouldn't happen. We'd like to thank all the individuals and organizations that contributed and participated. We'd like to thank those that gave to us financially and spiritually. We are truly grateful. A lot of work that went into this project. There's always work that needs to be done, so we look forward to your continued support. At this time, on behalf of my organization, we'd like to present a plaque to the museum. The plaque reads, in recognition of the grand opening of the African American Firefighter Museum, our contribution in the fire service will always be preserved. Stentorians, Los Angeles County Black Firefighters, December 13th, 1997.
We'd like to recognize LA City Commissioner Larry Gonzalez, Fire Commissioner from LA City, Larry Gonzalez. I understand there he is over there. And at this time, we'd also like to introduce to the stage, to the podium, firefighter paramedic David Spence, President of the Los Angeles City Fire Department's Stentorians.
Good afternoon. I want to thank everybody for your patience. I understand that you probably came here to take a look at the wonderful building that Councilwoman Rita Walters has delivered for our pleasure. But understand that what's lying before you is history, and what's happening now will be history, and that you are a part of it. On behalf of the Los Angeles City Stentorians, we would like to thank the African American Firefighter Museum for their efforts and for their attempts at preservation and presenting our rich history to the community. So if I can ask Michelle to come up. This is the Stentorians, the Association of African Americans in the Fire Service, December 13th, 1997. We salute the African American Firefighter Museum and its goal of preserving and presenting to our community the rich history of the first 100 years of African American firefighters in Los Angeles.
Okay, and at this time we have just a few one-minute presentations, and the first one would be from LA City Fire Department, Frank Cordova.
Thank you very much. I'm here representing the president of Los Bomberos, Martin Garza, and on a personal note, I'd like to thank the old Stentorians for making it possible for me to be on the fire service today. I worked with two of your members, Albert Reinhardt and Gary Garrison, and at this time, I'd like to make a presentation to Arnett Hartsfield. Okay, I'm going to read the inscription here. In recognition of your courage and unwavering spirit in the pursuit of justice and equality for all people of color, your pioneering actions broke down the doors of racism and made it possible for future generations
to have the opportunity to serve their community in the most noble of professions. And this is to the old Stentorians.
Okay, and next is Lieutenant Arthur Burgess. Of the Century Sheriff's Department. Yes, Arthur, come on up.
Well, I see it's good afternoon now rather than good morning, but it's a pleasure to be here this afternoon, on behalf of Sheriff Sherman Block, who believes in law enforcement and fire service going hand in hand. It's more important to me because I'm the incoming president of the Black Peace Officers Association of Los Angeles County, and seeing a museum like this is just grand. The Stentorians, retired and new, I salute you on this day. I'm very pleased to be here, and I'd like to give you this certificate in the name of the Sheriff of Los Angeles County, Sherman Block.
Folks, one thing we failed to acknowledge thus far is the museum's board of directors, and I'll just read that list. Michelle Banks, President; Brent Burton, Vice President; Kwame Cooper, Treasurer; Chris Cooper, Secretary; and Arnett Hartsfield, Historian. And the sponsors are Darrell Osby and David Spence. We'd like to acknowledge that and thank them for the board of directors for the museum. And also, we'd like to acknowledge the architect of this building, Mr. Edward Fiquette. Am I saying it correctly? Where is he? Stand up. This gentleman designed this building. I still have my eye on one of those Ford Explorer. Well, I have a Ford Explorer, but I have my eye on one of those old fire engines. I'm ready to trade it in. Okay, we have one more announcement, two more announcements. And then we begin the ribbon cutting ceremony. We would like to bring to the podium from the African American Male Achievers Network, Miss Betty Davis Walker.
And Mr. Hal Walker, the chairman of the board. Good morning and good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I'd like to say that this is certainly our pleasure to be here today to represent a community-based organization that here in the community nurtures our young people to get involved in science and technology. And of course, many of our young people see a future involved in the emergency services of our city. So of course, that makes us feel very proud to be a part of this program. I'd like to say that Arnett happened to have been right around the corner in 1947, Arnett, when that explosion happened at Lafayette Junior High School. I do remember that day. But we'd like to just thank the association for having us to be a part of the ceremony today, and we have a plaque that we'd like to give for the museum, and we'd like to have it received. Thank you.
And as he comes forward, come forward, please. I just want to say something to the youth, as well as something that all of us know. According to Langston Hughes, we must hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. This is a dream come true. God bless you. And the plaque reads, the African American Male Achievers Network, Inc. presents the Passing the Torch Award to the African American firefighters in Los Angeles in honor of their centennial anniversary celebration, October 2nd, 1997. Congratulations.
Okay, at this point I'd like to make a very special introduction. We have from the 2nd District Supervisor of the County of Los Angeles, Miss Yvonne Braithwaite Burke.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry I was so late. I was coming from Washington. It was a wonderful event. I had a chance to go to the Christmas party at the White House, and I took my daughter because she'd never been, and so I said I'll just get back as fast as I can this morning. This is a special day for all of us, and I have to tell you it's a very special day for me because this is my neighborhood where I grew up, where I was born, where I went to school. In fact, there used to be a school down the street from here called Lafayette Junior High School, and there are a few people probably here who remember it. I attended it for a while before I went to John Adams. So this, to me, is home. It means so much, and I am just so delighted. And I know you've heard all the stories, you've heard all the wonderful things that Arnett Hartsfield did to become the first and who moved forward and did such a great job. He moved up, and we're also proud of him. And we're also very proud that now these firefighters, the Centurions, who come together to pay tribute and to make this a place that young people can know how important it is to our heritage and to those of us who are part of this community. Thank you very much, and congratulations to you.
Okay, and for closing remarks, we have Michelle Banks, one more time. Michelle is the president of the Board of Trustees, folks. I just want to give her props.
Well, this has been a phenomenal morning. This is also an extraordinary moment. It's not often we find ourselves at an intersection of our life with an understanding of our past and a clear vision of our future. We've gathered to celebrate 100 years of the presence of African American firefighters in Los Angeles and to honor the memory and spirit of the old Centurions. In doing so, we find ourselves acknowledging our past and marking the beginning of the second 100 years as we move into the new millennium. This intersection of time and history affords us, and by us I mean our more diverse Los Angeles, our more diverse fire service. This intersection affords us the opportunity to make a choice, to create a space that not only captures historic fact, but also provides a space for building an understanding of our shared values and an appreciation of our differences, and one which promotes leadership in interethnic relations. The African American Firefighter Museum, with your continued support, energy, spirit, and artifacts, will do just that. We thank you for joining us this morning. We thank you for your support, and we look forward to building the African American Firefighter Museum with you. Thank you.
This entire celebration be possible. Specifically, I'm going to read this code. First of all, Coca-Cola, we'd like to thank you. And the Los Angeles Department of Personnel. Jim Tatrell of LAPD, area captain of the Newton Street Division, the California African American Museum. I did mention Al Hernandez and staff from Coca-Cola. Connie Bass, president of the Ultimate Symphony event planner. And Nick Pendorf, okay, of the Department of General Services. And I have an entire list here, folks. We'd like to thank all of the sponsors and all the businesses that helped make this possible, and we're also going to make that list available to you. It's just about time for the ribbon cutting ceremony. We certainly appreciate your patience and your presence, and I've had a great time today. I'm certainly going to make sure that I grab some of this video and show it tonight on the news. Of course, everybody's going to watch Fox 10 11 tonight at 10, right? Okay. That's one way to get some really tough. No, this has been great, and I certainly hope you appreciate it and you enjoyed it. And like I said, it's very important to bring young people to light, let them know about some very proud moments and some very courageous moments in their history. Let's start with low clouds and fog and hazy afternoon sunshine. Chance of rain tomorrow night.
Yeah. My hand's got probably a little oil on it. What do you want to do? Turn this, switch for me. Okay, come on. Turn it which way? Either way, either way. Hey, Ray, look out this way. I like that. Okay. Okay. Tighten up the ribbon just a little. Reggie, tighten the ribbon up. Pull the ribbon up. Good job. Okay. All right. Captain Cooper, get in there. Get in there. Come on now. Good job. Just get in there. Come on. Get in. Come on.
Wait a minute. We can't take this. No, we're not going to take this. It's got to be a right picture. Okay, I need Brent, and I need Kwame, and I need Michelle. And where's Chris? Where's Chris Cooper? Okay. Okay, well, I would like to have you guys take the right picture.
Backing up. Everybody's backing up. Everybody's backing up. Back up. We see you guys. Who are you talking to?
You guys are okay. All right. Okay.
When you're ready. Okay. Here's Jake. Look here, there's your grandfather, the second one on the left.